It was a bright, sunny and incredibly warm Christmas Eve day as we crossed the border from Botswana into Namibia. We actually found a little bat on the floor of the parking lot and had to execute a quick mission to put it back in a safe, dark and cool place. It wasn't very willing to go backwards, however, so that posed a challenge. Post the successful saving of the bat, we continued onwards with our journey to Riparia Reserve, where we would be camping for 3 nights. Once we had set up camp, we proudly set up our sole Christmas decoration to get into the festive spirit. It's Christmas! Yes, I know it's April right now. I'm sorry. We'd already unwrapped all our Christmas gifts at home, so they didn't have to take up our already limited packing space, so there was none of that going on. I did wear my Christmas socks for approximately 5 minutes before giving it up as a health precaution, as it was 9 AM and already over 30 degrees Celsius. It was a really relaxed day. We just spent quality time together as a family, not that we really had many other options, and had what we have coined a bush lunch. It's basically just a cold lunch. The celebratory crackers and crowns were delved out, and thus ensued the shenanigans with a yo-yo discovered in one of the crackers.
Can you walk the dog and all that?
Not with this thing, no.
I don't think you can do much with that one.
It's just bouncing.
Oh no, we could just bounce the thing. That's going to be a great competition.
Oh dear.
Stopped.
Oh dear.
And then we could do Keegan's trick.
Problem solving.
We have walk the dog. And then we have make the dog run. Make the dog sit. Beg. It was only once, I did it several times.
Yeah, I did lots of times like this. You never did it speed.
I was so quick and you even noticed.
Look at the speed.
Let's see.
Didn't even see that.
But you never caught it either.
What other skills can you display?
Thank you. Carry over the bouncing tree.
Okay, once it's at the bottom, I can get it back up.
Okay, I did that too.
No, you never.
Oh yes, I
You
did.
wound it back up. Deborah, do you still work for Dad?
I mean, Dad did walk the dog. That's a classic, a favourite. You ran the dog, you made the dog sit. He did fly the bird even. That's unheard of. What are you doing?
Let me just do my trick of getting it back up.
This is very sad.
Working out very well.
Okay.
I mean, you both displayed a great amount of skill.
Wait, I'm not done.
Oh god.
Everybody, okay, look, trick's coming on.
And what do you call this?
That was spinny spin. See, that was very skilled actually. It went all the way around.
Oh, you spilled orange on me.
Okay, I have 2 more tricks. What, winding it up?
This is the face of someone who's very impressed by the skill of the team. And she hasn't even started yet, so we may have one.
Wee! And there's the flat one that's good.
Very good. It even makes a good noise as well.
Yeah, listen.
It sounds like you really are about to take off.
I quit my dreaming the moment that I found you. I started dancing.
It was a great, very hot Christmas.
You. Here's to thinking that it all meant so much more. I kept my mouth shut.
5 AM wake-ups were becoming the norm, and I wasn't feeling as exhausted as I normally would. Literally 2 minutes into our game drive, just down the road from our campsite, we bumped into 2 lions, which was a great start to the day.
For this to be the end, for this to never be a tight and empty hand. If all the trouble in my heart would only mend, I lost my dream, I lost my reason all again. It's not just me for you. I have to look out too. I have to save my life.
I got to do a couple water crossings along with several dried up quote-unquote water crossings. It was quite sad actually to see how much everything had dried up since we had been there a couple years ago. So what I'm saying is I'm pretty much an expert now and awaiting my award for Driver of the Year in the post.
You may not be around. You may not be around.
We roamed around visiting old spots we had camped or been before and just felt nostalgic.
Only one now.
That night was the night of moths. They just came in hordes and would have overthrown us as the dominant species if they could. Orange peels were laid out to try appease them and so we could eat without fear of a moth flapping about on our plates. It was only mildly successful.
Oh god, it's getting violent.
It was sadly already time to leave our campsite for our next reprieve amidst civilization at a tented lodge.
Hi, how are you doing? It's been a while since we caught up. I scratched myself in my sleep, basically permanently damaged myself. I don't know why I did that, but my nails aren't even long at the moment, but I managed to somehow draw blood. This is the first place we've had Wi-Fi. Second place we've had Wi-Fi, but first place we've had Wi-Fi in a while. It's not my top priority, don't get me wrong, but it is kind of nice to catch up because it's Christmas time and I wanted to speak to some of my friends. And also I kind of been left in suspense because I was like mid-conversation with a lot of people. It hasn't been hard. I always knew I could survive without my phone, but I just proved it to myself again. You know, you sometimes have doubts, but I really managed to prove to myself like I can live without my phone so easily. It really does just help with living in the moment. It did allow me to ground myself a bit more, which is good. We only have about 5 nights left. 2 more nights here at this lodge that we're staying at. 1 night camping and then 2 nights in like lodges or B&Ps on the way back to South Africa. Basically the trip is coming to an end at this point. This is one of the shortest trips we've ever done and also one of the most like civilized. We only had to use our portable shower once. We never ever had to use our loo seat. No we did. No we didn't. Heard some strange noises and thought I was about to be attacked. Yeah, never had to use a portable loo seat. Thank God for that. Honestly, that thing is a nightmare because you have to go dig a hole and it's like the hole of shame. I have to like position the toilet seat stand over the hole. It's awful. Like it sucks. So I'm really glad we didn't have to do that. And we also stayed in a lot more like proper accommodation than normal. We camped I think 9 nights in total across Botswana and Namibia. I mean, yeah, it's still kind of long, but it's not as long as we normally do. We normally go like 30 nights straight camping, no lodges, nothing, in the middle of nowhere, always have to use the shower. This was actually a lot more glamping style than expected, which is really nice. My dad was trying to accommodate us because he knows like we've done this so many times that it sometimes can get a bit frustrating, and it's also a lot shorter. Yeah, it's like it is going to have been like 2.5 weeks. All in all, it's not entirely like how it all happened in my childhood, so it's not a completely accurate reflection. So if you see any of this and think, well, that's really easy, yeah, it is really easy compared to like what we once did. And what I'd like to do again in the future, maybe with friends or something, maybe not exactly what I always do, but like I'm obsessed with traveling, in case you can tell. I was thinking I haven't done a ton of African travel like by myself. No, I've done no African travel by myself. Let me rephrase that. I've only ever traveled around Africa with my family. It's like Zambia, Namibia, Botswana, Kenya, etc. I would love to do like either a solo travel or more likely with friends, like a road trip type thing. I would need a lot of money for this. This isn't like near future, but like a road trip type thing through like probably from like Southern Africa. I think it would be really nice to go to at least like 6 or 7 different African countries, road tripping it, camping wherever, like that kind of thing. Like I think that'd be really cool. So that is a future bucket list plan. I have to rope in some people, and I also managed to make some actual friends on this trip. That's never happened. That is how you know this is not a normal trip, because you never see enough people to even communicate with anyone else, let alone find someone roughly your age, 12 people roughly your age, and make friends with them. So if you're keen, hit me up on traveling throughout Africa. Whenever I travel, I suddenly realize I want to go to 10 different places. Like traveling does not satiate the desire to travel, it just makes you want to travel more and to places you'd never even thought of. Oh god, there's so many places I still want to go. There's still so much I want to see, and it's so frustrating because I know I have to actually work and make money and get myself in a stable position in life, but I also just want to throw caution to the wind and just go to like 50, 60, 70 different countries. I hope you enjoyed this and the rest of this that is to come. Goodbye. That is my face. You're zooming in on my face.
I slowly take the picture with you. You share and say you
I spent most of my time at the lodge reading, writing, and being the reflective and creative genius that everyone knows me to be, while my dad and brother went fishing, and because of this, it wasn't terribly eventful, but it sure was relaxing.
sharing space without a sound.
It's very cool, Mom. Very cool.
This land is mine.
Le passe de cas.
From Ventura to Vancouver.
Goal.
I feel so close to you.
It was our last night of camping before we began the 2-day trek home.
Are you sure you love me too?
The place we stayed at had great amenities, so my brother and I spent the afternoon swimming in the pool and just appreciated not feeling like we were being boiled alive for once.
Keegan, I'm sorry, please be careful. It's got water on it!
Ils parlent tous comme des ânes.
It's the last day of 2019.
It was indeed the last day of 2019, well said, Tamron, which we spent travelling to our overnight stay in Botswana.
À la mode et qu'il mange mieux quand il est sale. Bah faudrait peut-être casser les codes. Une fille qui l'ouvre, ce serait normal. Balance ton quoi.
My mom was really sick, so she went to sleep early, and the rest of us just enjoyed a quiet evening by the fire. I was the only one who actually made it to midnight, the film's Scary Movie, my only companion.
Happy New Year.
I kind of wrote out my goals for 2020 as well as what I was currently grateful for in a moment of cheesy affection for everything and everyone in my life. I was tired, okay? Before we left for our last stop, my brother and I came across a dried up riverbed, which I think will make for a suitable background as we get reflective here. This trip re-inspired me to do some African travel, as I'm sure you could tell from my previous enthusiastic ramblings, as well as just reignited my love for Africa in general. Being away for such a long time traveling overseas made me appreciate it a lot more, the vibe, how things work. I really took it for granted when I was growing up. Overseas is just not the same. How things work, how people work, and how people think is very different wherever you go. I know this sounds like an obvious statement to me, but when you experience it yourself, it can sometimes feel quite alienating. I'm glad I had the opportunity, brace for the cringe, to return to my roots and do and see things I'd done and seen before, but this time in a completely new light with a different mindset. And yeah, that's it. That is my piece.
I'm done.
We crossed back into South Africa, retracing our steps 2.5 weeks later.
So I choke on the sun, and the days blur into one in the backs of my eyes, on the things I've never done. Sheets are swaying from an old clothesline, like a rope.
Our last stop of the trip was a lovely vintage-style Airbnb, and we spent the first night of the year drinking champagne and playing darts. Home time! The last 7 hours of our drive were uneventful and passed worryingly fast. I think I'd lost all sense of time at that point. I think my mom was immensely relieved when we reached the gate to our house, for I had tormented her with my music throughout the trip because I had forgotten to download a lot of my music, so the playlist was incredibly limited and repetitive. And then we were home, to our dogs and our own bedrooms.